I love coming over here every year. Was lucky I spent a lot of time over in Australia as a player a long time ago, back in the late 90s and early 2000s. Didn't make it to Melbourne, so 2 years ago when I arrived was my first time, and everyone told me that I would love it here, and I do. I think it's a great spot. Stay in a great part of town, down on Chapel Street. No, it's really good. Melbourne people have made me feel really welcome, and that goes obviously with the Stars family as well. So no, I'm really excited to be back. Yeah, I feel really confident coming into the tournament. You're right, there's been a lot of moving parts in the off-season, a few changes here at Cricket Victoria with the structure of the Stars and the Renegades and how that sits in the structure. So yeah, I've spent a lot of time chatting to Clint. I think that's a great appointment. He's been absolutely outstanding, had more involvement in terms of the list management as well, and overseeing player development through that off-season period. So we've been speaking regularly through the off-season. It was great to hook up with him a couple of weeks ago, and we had the Spring Challenge last week in Sydney. So it was our first opportunity to work together since we did 2 years ago when he was bowling coach for the Stars. No, I'm really confident. I think things are in a really good space leading into WBBL. There were loads of objectives going into that tournament that we could sort of look at. We had a lot of different players at different stages of their career. So you had sort of Meg Lanning, obviously still a wonderful player. So for her, probably actually getting some match practice in T20 format in, probably much better than training sessions, much better than practice matches, which can sort of turn into a bit of a knockabout as well. So getting some competition and match practice, right the way through down to some of those younger players that I hadn't actually seen play before. I'd seen some video footage of the younger players, sort of your Indigo Noble, and those sorts of players, and seeing sort of what they could do, giving them freedom to go and express themselves in a competition. Hopefully we introduce them to the Stars environment and the family, and they could see what we're about, and probably the things they need to do to make that next step up over the next couple of years. But what was really clear is there's lots of really good talent here in Victoria, so the Stars pathway looks really strong, and those senior players got some really good practice out of the Spring Challenge. So to finish third in the tournament, we thought we did really well with the balance of side we had, and there are lots of positives to take away from it. Yeah, so it's a challenge when you don't have sort of one main arrival point where everyone comes together, and you can have that sort of, I guess, initial group get together where we sort of set out the plans for the season, pull everyone's thoughts together. That's always a little bit of a challenge. So there's still a few moving parts with players arriving for that. And as you said, we're missing a couple of the overseas players for round one. We knew that was going to be the case for quite a long way out as well. So that's been a factor of our plans. But it's really exciting. You look at the player group that we've assembled for this, and we sort of head to Perth on Thursday, looking to sort of hit the ground running in round one. I think there are challenges, but it's also really nice. Players have been playing some really good competitive cricket at the World Cup, so players don't need to sort of, I guess, top up as we get in towards it. It's just rolled from the World Cup into WBBL, hopefully playing some really good cricket. Yeah, so Annabelle's been on our radar as a leader for some time now, and sort of part of our development plan for her was getting her leadership opportunities. She stepped into the breach really effectively last year, and actually showed some really good leadership in those last couple of games, which we won at the back end of WBBL 09. So no, she's obviously a deep thinker. She's a really good leader, really sort of powerful within the group, really well respected as well. She's got some really clear thoughts on where she wants her team to go, which align really nicely with my thoughts on how the game should be played as well. So we had a really good catch up over the phone a couple of times, and then in person today. So we're all aligned with that, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where she takes her captaincy, but also takes her own game. I actually felt that captaincy allowed her to, I guess, take pressure off her own game as well. I thought her game's gone on to the next level, sort of on the back of that as well. So hopefully that can keep continuing. She can grow as a player alongside the captaincy. Yeah, look, we've seen her be a standout performer in WBBL for the last few seasons. She's obviously played it for a long time now, so she's much more experienced than her years in terms of age would probably show you. I also signed her at Delhi as well, so it shows I've got a pretty good insight into her there as well. But I think looking at how she played in the 100, we were on the wrong end at the Oval Invincibles of a really strong performance from her. It really did look like she'd taken her game to the next level from a batting and bowling perspective. And I think that's just that maturity piece in terms of getting that risk and reward balance right, really understanding what your strengths are. And all players in these tournaments are really good players. But if you've got a deep understanding of what your strengths are and you can keep accessing those strengths, your performance is going to be more and more consistent. You're going to play more match winning and match impacting performances, and that's what we saw at the 100. She was one of the standout players. Look, I think we made progress over the last couple of years, particularly 2 years ago, where we felt we had a really young squad. For my mind, I think we've got the strongest 15-player squad in my 3 years here. Yeah, my expectation is if we play to our full potential, we'll be at finals. Yeah, so one of the opportunities was for those players you say are part of the WBBL squad, some of them really good fixtures within the side itself, to take slightly more leadership role in that younger side, and I thought they both stepped up to the plate really, really well. I mean, Reece McKenna captained on one occasion. We know she's captained Australia under-19s really effectively in the past. She's again another really, really good leader within our group, albeit very, very young. She's been around the WBBL team now for a while without really firmly establishing, I guess, her place and her role within the team. So it was really nice to see her step up, one, leadership, two, with the bat and the ball, because she is a genuine all-rounder as well. And obviously Tess as well, seeing her take more of a leadership role, particularly with the bat in hand. It was nice to see her bowling as well after her injury troubles of last season. Yeah, I think they both stepped up really nice and sort of showed that they have got those leadership capabilities and also to play those match-changing roles that we look for in those players. WBBL was the game changer, starting 10 years ago, really setting a benchmark for women's cricket and where it should be going, and the Australian system itself obviously producing a huge number of top quality players. I still look at the quality of players who are in the WBBL, they're absolutely outstanding, and obviously the other leagues are obviously playing catch up with the 100 in the UK and the WPL in India, desperately trying to catch up with that. But for me, to work with the quality of players, not just the internationals, who we see obviously going to those other competitions and dominating, the Australian players themselves make up a huge volume of those overseas players that the franchises pick up. But the next rung of domestic players coming through and the quality that there is there, for me as a coach, it's absolutely brilliant. I love working with the best players in the world, and obviously we've got some of those here at the Melbourne Stars.